Have you nominated something and it's been 3 weeks, 1 month, 8 months, 12 months since you've heard back and found out if that nomination is going to become a POKESTOP or not? Well, in this video, I'm going to help you guys out to speed up your POKESTOP nominations, how to make them go through in a single day. Let's talk about it. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. This is a long-awaited video. So if you've seen my video on how to nominate POKESTOPs in Pokemon Go, in there I mentioned that POKESTOP nominations usually take forever to go through. Reason being is people who are reviewing the POKESTOP nominations, which are just people like us, there's a lot less of them than actual POKESTOP nominations going through. There's probably millions of POKESTOP nominations in the world in queue right now because there's not enough people reviewing them. This makes it impossible to get your POKESTOP nomination go through without a very special item called an upgrade. I'm going to talk about them more in a bit, but upgrades are items you can put onto your POKESTOP nominations, which will fast track them to the front of the queue. Because think of it, there's a long queue of people waiting for their nominations to get reviewed. It'll put yours at the front of the queue. Think of it like a fast pass at an amusement park. Once you use an upgrade on a nomination, you will get a message back on if your nomination will become a POKESTOP or is being rejected in literally like 3 hours. I put one on not so long ago, and then in the next hour or so, my POKESTOP got accepted. Then about 4 hours later, it was in game, as you can see on the footage right here. Well, you might be wondering, how do you get these upgrades so you can put them on your nominations and get your POKESTOP instantly reviewed? Well, to get these upgrades, you actually need to become a reviewer yourself. So you need to become the person who will start looking at everyone else's nomination saying, yo, is this good? Is this bad? What should I rate this? And that's what this video is about. Today, I'm going to talk about everything there is to know about reviewing, how to start doing it, and how to get upgrades so you can get a bunch of POKESTOP nominations. Because trust me, once you get an upgrade, guys, your POKESTOP nomination will instantly go through, and it's super easy to get POKESTOPs in your area. Okay, so first thing we need here, and we're going to hop on the computer, is going to be a Wayfarer account. I'm going to leave a link below to this website, but it's wayfarer.nianticlabs.com. In here, you can sign in with a Google account or a Facebook account. I recommend signing in with the same Google or Facebook account, which is linked to your Pokemon Go account, so you can see all your nominations through this website and give all your nominations upgrades through this website. So if you want to check here what email you do have linked, just come to your account, go to settings, scroll down. Then here you can look at account, your nickname, of course, and then you can see your Google and then your Facebook account and see if they're linked. I would recommend linking a Google or Facebook account through here and then sign in with that Google Facebook account through the Niantic Wayfarer website. Well, is that it? Are you a reviewer? No, it's not that easy. You actually need to take a very, very short test to see if you understand the criteria of what is good and what is bad. Pokemon Go Hub, I'm going to leave a link below, have a Wayfarer test preparation guide letting you know. I'm not going to tell you guys all the answers and all that because I want you guys to understand the criteria, but it's pretty similar to the stuff I talked about in the Pokemon nomination guide, which you just need to know what is acceptable and what is not as a POKESTOP. You're probably going to come to a page like this and it'll ask you to start training. And then in there, you have to answer a couple questions. Here's an example question. For example, should shifting sands be a way stop? And then your options are yes, includes man-made point of interest, or no, it's a natural feature. You just want to answer that. I'm going to leave the Pokemon Go Hub resource and then also here the Niantic Wayfarer Labs /help. I'll leave the link to this below. All the answers are really in here, showing you, what are the photo guidelines, what are description guidelines. Just make sure you read this, guys. It is a test, so I can't give you all the answers. I want to make sure you guys actually understand the basics of what should be good and what shouldn't be. Another resource, guys, if you are studying for your test, is the criteria section. In here, you can see what is illegible, what is not illegible. Pretty much is the same thing I talked about in the nomination video, but double check this. I'll leave the link below to this. Before you take the test, probably watch this whole video as I do go through a couple examples of me reviewing, which could help you understand what is acceptable as a review. One thing to note, and it's very important, if you do fail the Wayfarer test, guys, you'll have to wait 30 days and then you'll be able to take it a second time. But if you fail the second time, you won't be able to take the test again. So you want to make sure that you study and take your time. And I'm glad they're doing this so people take it serious, because you need to make sure that you don't fail the test, because if you fail the second time, you will never be able to become a reviewer. So be sure to use the resources I linked below to study and pretty much just read up as much as you can. You should have no problem, guys. Again, it's a really easy test as long as you take some time to read up on stuff, memorize, and understand it. Once you have taken the test, you will have access to Niantic Wayfarer. It might look different than what I'm showing you guys on screen, and that is because I have an extension called Wayfarer Plus, which is going to be super helpful for you guys. Let me show you guys how to download it before we get into how to review. I'm going to leave a link below to the github.com here. You might look at this and be like, yo, what is going on? I'm going to make it very simple. You're just going to want to scroll down. It says Wayfarer Plus here. You can read how to install it. Pretty much available for Chrome, available for Firefox, or available for Chromium Edge. Everyone I know uses Google Chrome nowadays, so just click on available for Chrome. It'll link you right to the Google Chrome extension. Click add, and then once you are in Niantic Wayfarer, you click on the little extensions button up here, Niantic Wayfarer Plus. You should click on that. It'll activate it. Honestly, install the Wayfarer Plus and then just leave it as the basic default settings videos when you do install it because it'll all be set up and you should be fine to start reviewing. So before I get into reviewing and how it works, I want to let you guys know you're gonna suck at first. I sucked at first. Honestly, I'm a very new reviewer, so I probably still suck compared to a lot of people, and you'll be pretty slow and you're not gonna be getting a lot of agreements, which is something I'm gonna talk about because you don't know what that is yet. But over time, like anything, you'll get good, you'll get fast. You'll be able to review super fast, get upgrades, you know, every 3 days. You'll get a new POKESTOP every 3 days. Okay, let me explain how it works. So pretty much there's a bunch of categories and they have a 1 to 5 star rating that you can give it. The categories include, should this be a way stop? As you can see here, 1 to 5. Title and description, you can give the title and description a 1 to 5. Historic or cultural significance, 1 to 5. Is this POKESTOP visually unique? 1 to 5. Safe access, 1 to 5. And then finally, location accuracy, 1 to 5. This is the most important category, the first one. Should this be a way stop? If you give this a 3 or above, that means you are accepting it. You think it should be a way stop. Anything 2 stars or less. So if I give it a 1 star or a 2 star, you're pretty much rejecting it. You're saying, no, I don't want this to be a way stop. Pretty much you're gonna review this, and this POKESTOP is gonna be given to a bunch of other people. And once enough people vote on it, it's gonna look at what everyone voted. It's gonna say, did everyone vote, you know, positive for it? Did everyone vote negative? Is it gonna become a POKESTOP or is it not? Will it get rejected or accepted? If you voted for the outcome, so if I vote here, give it a, you know, 3 star or above to say I want it to be a POKESTOP, and then a bunch of other people do the same thing and it ends up being a POKESTOP, then you will get something called an agreement. An agreement is pretty much just being with the majority of people. Did you say this was gonna be a POKESTOP and it became one, or did you say this should be a POKESTOP and then everyone else was like, no, it shouldn't? If you're with the majority, you do get an agreement, and same for if you're with the majority that declines it. Note, it doesn't matter if you give it a 3, a 4, or a 5 star. If it gets agreed, you do get an agreement, and the same with if you gave it a 1 or 2 star. If it gets declined, then you did get a agreement. You need 100 agreements to get an upgrade. If you wanna see how your agreements are coming, you can come to your profile, top right corner. The little bar will show you how close you are to an upgrade. So I have 94 out of the 100 to get an upgrade. Note, I've already had one upgrade once. It says upgrades redeemed here. I've reviewed 400 different waypoints, but only 194 of them have been processed and agreed. So that's 49%, which means there's still 200 of the ones I reviewed that other people are reviewing, and they're trying to find out if the majority is gonna accept it or decline it. Once they do get processed, if I was with the majority and I do get an agreement, it'll then add. So it only gives you an agreement once the POKESTOP's fate has been decided for if it's gonna be accepted or if it's gonna be rejected. I just wanna add on a mistake I made here. The 206 reviews here that haven't been in process and agreement are not just reviews that are waiting on other people to review them and find an agreement, but also reviews that have been agreed on, but I voted for the wrong side. Let's talk about the 1 to 5 star range, guys. The 1 star is like a solid no. It's like no, no, no. The 2 star is like, you know, it's you're saying no, but it's not like this is terrible. It's just like, you know, I don't think this should be a POKESTOP. The 3 is like an I don't know. If you give it a 3 star, you're like, you know, I don't know, man. I think it's a pretty good POKESTOP. I think it should be one, but I'm not 100% sure. And the 5 is a solid yes, and of course the 4 is like a pretty solid yes. The 4 and the 5 I find are pretty interchangeable in terms of starring. So I told you guys that this should be a way stop. This is the most important starring you're gonna give it, pretty much deciding if you're agreeing or not. But there's also these other ones. Pretty much here you can give the description a star, so you can, again, the same criteria. Is this a good description? I don't know. Is this a good description? It's amazing. I'm gonna give it 5 stars. We got historical or cultural significance. Does this have historical, cultural, or I even find community significance? Is this important to the community? You can give it a rating. Is it visually unique? You know, if it's just a boring thing, or is it like a cool sculpture? Safe access, is it accessible safely? You're gonna have to base this off the street view it gives you here, but I'll explain that in a second. And then finally, location accuracy. For example, here we have a boat, a tugboat. If I scroll down here and look for the tugboat, it's clearly right there. So this is a pretty accurate location. I would most likely just give this a 5 star. We also have the what is this? It's an optional field, but I do like to input it here. This is a tugboat, so I'm not sure if they have that. I can search boat. No, I maybe will do historical structure is another one here because it is an old boat. I want to know one thing. If you guys want something to be accepted, you need to make sure that none of the other categories, so first of all, this category needs to be above a 3 star, right? But none of the other categories should be under a 3 star as well. If I'm like, yo, I want this tugboat to go through, let me give this a 5 star, but I'm gonna give it a 1 star for historic or cultural significance. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you're giving at least a 3 star if you want it to be accepted. So yeah, that's if you want to accept it. Make sure that you're giving all these categories at least a 3 star. Now, if you are rejecting it, you don't actually have to fill in any of these categories, because when I come over here and click the 1 star to reject, it'll come up to why is this an illegible POKESTOP nomination, and you can select a reason here and you can add additional comments. So pretty much here, if I wanted to reject this, which I'm not going to, I would say why. For example here, location sensitive. It gives you a little description too, so use nominations for those real world locations which appear to be explicit or inappropriate. Photo, for example, like face here, use nominations where a photo includes a recognizable face. So if in the picture of the Waystop there's someone in it, you're gonna decline it for face here. And then any that I find that are not on the criteria here, I just come to other rejection criteria and then I'll just type it in. So let me walk you guys through me reviewing a couple nominations so you guys can kind of get an understand of how it all works. I just want to note I'm not an expert at all, so there are probably some expert Wayfarer reviewers that are gonna, criticize me and say, oh, that's not good. But remember, I am learning, and if I did do something wrong, let me know. I just want to quickly cut in here. Something I forgot to mention in the original video, and you'll see after, is that I forget to check for duplicates, which is the first thing you should be doing for each nomination. I forget to do it for the first two I review in the upcoming footage, but on the third one I do. Let me show you how to do it. Okay, so here you go. For example, you're gonna scroll down. There's gonna be a check for duplicates section. Pretty much this will show you all the other POKESTOP/waypoints in the area. You can go ahead and just make sure none of them are the exact same as the thing the person is reviewing. For example here, Bassin Plateau. I'm just gonna come in here. I'm gonna scroll through all the other Waystops and make sure there are no duplicates. I don't show it in the first two reviews. I show it in the third one, but just make sure you're doing that as the first thing you do before anything you do when reviewing. We have a Rocky Mountain mural, artwork of the Rocky Mountains. So this is obviously the title. This is the description they added for their nomination. Murals are a great nomination to have. So I'm gonna go ahead, give it a 5-star. I think it's a great nomination. I'm gonna give the description a 4-star just because the description's not that nice. And also there's like a capital letter and all that. So I'm just gonna go ahead, 4-star that. This is the supporting image to kind of help you guys find out where it is. And I'll be honest, this is a really bad supporting image. When you are taking supporting images, guys, for your nominations, make sure that the actual POKESTOP is in it, because you want to use that supporting image to kind of identify the location of the POKESTOP. Honestly, I have no clue where that is, but it's all right here. Artwork in Cranbrook, BC. That's fine. Historical or cultural significance. So this is a hard question to ask, and for me, it was very hard because some of these things for me, it's like, does this really have any historic or cultural significance? But someone told me pretty much this can also be known as like community significance. Is it important in the community? I think artwork is pretty important in the community. I'm gonna give this a 3-star just because it is just a piece of artwork. It's not that historical or cultural, but I don't want to go under 3 stars because then I am declining it. And I want to obviously accept it because I gave it a 5 stars. Visually unique, I'm gonna give it a 5 because it's a cool looking mural. And safe access. Obviously you can see there is a sidewalk right there, so I'm gonna give that a 5-star. Finally, we have the location. This is the location they chose, which is the exact same wall. You can see the windows there, and then they do have the lamppost right here. So this is the same wall, except this Google image is just tucked before the mural was actually put down. So I'm gonna give this a 5-star easily. And then finally, the optional, I'm just gonna type in here, mural. This is an optional, so if there is no category, like you can't find what it actually is, you can just skip that. And then I'm gonna click the submit, and there you go. Something to note here, on the Wayfarer Plus, it says time remaining. So it pretty much tells you how long you have. You have 20 minutes to review each nomination individually, so you have plenty of time. I wanna quickly cut in here and show you guys this special type of review that will pop up. This is called an edit review. You'll know it's an edit review because it'll show you at the top left. All you have to do is suggest the best rated name, location, description for a certain POKESTOP. So for example, here we have a beaver, and then at the bottom will ask us, what is the best title for this? Beaver bench, none of the above. I'm just gonna go with the capitalized beaver bench. Best description, unique sitting area with a beaver head. Unique sitting area with a beaver head on the other side features a frog, or none of the above. Again, you can choose it. Again, this is still an optional. What is this? So I can choose bench. I guess I'll just go with bench. But these will pop up and they'll be asking you, what's the best title for this? What's the best description? Maybe they'll ask you what the best location or the best picture is. They're very self-explanatory. I'm not gonna get into them too deep, but just note in between reviewing, you will have these pop up in which you do have to fill them out and you do have to submit them. Here's an example of the photo one. It's asking you, hey, are these photos valid? Yeah, these photos seem valid, so I can go all photos meet criteria. If there's one I want to reject, just click on them and then click submit and you'll be rejecting those photos. But these are fine, both of them, so I can go ahead and submit. So here we go. We got a labor boat ramp. So this is a boat ramp. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure if boat ramps are good. I'm just gonna go with the 3. If you don't know that well, I usually just go with the 3. And then here, the nomination, I'm just gonna give this a 3. Historical, cultural significance, I'm gonna give this one a 3 again. Visually leak, I'll give it a 4 because boat ramps are cool. And then safe access. This is where you have to come to the Google Maps and look around. Visible by pedestrians. There's no sidewalk really, right? So I'm gonna give this a, actually there's a path right there. I'm gonna give it a 3 just because it doesn't look that safely accessed. Then as far as location, as you can see, that's the thing from before. So I'm gonna give that 5 stars, the perfect location. So yeah, we're gonna go with that. Obviously that's something I didn't know. The master reviewers could tell me if that was actually acceptable in the criteria. Next we have the Greenlee Loop Backplace. Trail marker located at the intersection of the Backplace Avenue, Scott and Street. So here you go. Looks pretty good. Honestly, trail markers, and I'm gonna talk that trail markers are really good nominations. So I'm gonna give it a 5 star. We'll give the description a 5 star as well. Here they give you great supporting information, and they even give you a clickable link if you want to look on more information, guys. And that's something I want to note, is that don't be scared to research stuff. Like if someone says, oh, this is an amazing place to eat, and it's called, you know, the Dinery, go on Google, search the Dinery, and get some more information. Don't be scared to Google search things to try to get more information. Historical or cultural significance, I'm gonna give this one a 3 here. Checking for duplicates, doesn't seem like there's any. This is the POKESTOP. This one is this other trail marker, which is like the same trail marker, but it's not in the same location. So it's obviously a different trail marker. Visually unique, I'll give it a 4. Safe access, I'm gonna give it a 4 actually, just because you can walk on the side of this chill neighborhood. And then finally, we're just gonna search trail marker. There you go. And as far as location goes, 5, because obviously you can see it right there. That's me going through some reviews. Before I get into some good and bad examples of things you should be accepting and rejecting, I wanna talk about the 20-second cooldown timer. I've never hit myself, but if you review too fast, so if you just go through there and start ticking 5, 5, 5, or whatever, just go through it in like 2 seconds and keep doing it, you're gonna get timed out and you're gonna have a cooldown. But honestly, guys, I wouldn't suggest going too fast. Take your time with it. You don't wanna rush through these things. You wanna make sure you're reviewing well, because the better you review, the higher chance you have to be in the majority and end up with an agreement. So don't be scared, take your time with it, fill in the optional things. You can even fill in additional comments at the bottom if you wanna say great nomination, or you wanna say why you think they could have done better. Okay, so that's how you pretty much review, guys. If you wanna go ahead and take a crack at it, go ahead, that's how you do it. But I wanna go through some examples of some good and some bad things you can review, and I'm gonna make a separate full video on this because I think it's super important so you guys can know not only as a nominator what you should be nominating, but then also as a reviewer what you should be accepting. But let's go to some examples. First of all, trailheads, trail markers, 5 stars. Give them 5 stars all around, unless, you know, it's not safely accessible and things like that. You can give those categories lower. Trail markers are great. I wanna know it has to be a trail marker or a trailhead. It can't just be a picture of like some alley that looks like a trail and say trail. That's just a natural feature that shouldn't be a POKESTOP at all. It has to be an actual sign that says John's Trail, or, you know, 20 kilometers this way kind of thing. Trail markers are great, give them 5 stars. Footbridges are good. Like if you see in a little park or something like that, and you see a little bridge, that can be a great nomination to accept, depending on, of course, how the location is and all that. I wouldn't always just give it a straight 5 stars, but go ahead, take a look at it. It can be accepted. Parks, play structures, swing sets, soccer fields, basketball courts, football fields. Pretty much most amenities in parks are acceptable as long as they're accessibly safe to people. You have to note that they cannot be on school grounds. Any nomination on K-12 school grounds, which is like private, public schools that you can't just walk onto if you're a nobody, you actually have to be going to that school. You can't really accept those. So you can't like nominate a soccer field at, you know, your high school or something like that. But in random parks and things like that, play structures are fine, great nominations. Anything in a military base or that obstructs like emergency vehicles, that's a big no-no. You don't want to like nominate police stations. Little free libraries, if you ever seen like those pop-up libraries in their communities and things like that, you cannot accept those if they are on a private residential property or a single home family. I'm gonna explain exactly what that means, but pretty much if they're in somebody's yard or if they're out by the sidewalk on somebody's yard, it's not acceptable. You can't be accepting those and letting them through because they are on someone's house, and you don't want a bunch of people crowding around in the front of someone's house just to spin a POKESTOP. I wanna make sure you guys understand the difference between a private residential property and other living situations that are actually acceptable. Private residential property should always be declined. Give it a 1 star, get it out of here, because you don't want people going on other people's lawns and hanging out and all that. The important distinguishing factor in a duplex or a townhome or your own house, you have a yard, and if people go on that yard, it is trespassing. You don't want people to be trespassing to spin a POKESTOP and all that. Compare that to condo complexes, apartments. All these places, the people who live there are allowed to walk through the halls. You're not trespassing on anyone's lawn. Of course, if you go into someone's like actual room, you are. People leave the building and pretty much walk out. You're allowed to be there. There's nothing wrong with that. But if there's a lawn, can't nominate anything on there. Again, going back to the little library, it can't be on someone's lawn or out by the sidewalk. That's on someone's house. Memorial plaques and benches, you might see these a lot and get nominated a lot, like, you know, memorial for John Smith or something like that. Those are only accepted for important, distinct people in the community. It's gonna be up to you if you do accept it, but make sure you read the supporting information and title and description. If they explain why this person was important to the community or in history, then you can go ahead and accept it. But if they're just like memorial memorial plaque for John. John died in a car accident. It's really sad that he did die in a car accident, but he hasn't really done anything insanely amazing for the community unless they say that. So you make sure that if you are nominating, put in information on why this person is important to the community. And then if you're reviewing, make sure that they did input that information, or else I would reject that, give it a 1 star. So yeah, guys, pretty much that is how to review. I hope that's enough information to get started, but now I'm gonna go through a couple specific situations and bonus tips that some Wayfarer experts did give me, and also some resources to help you guys understand it better. First of all, if you're reviewing heavily wooded areas, the nomination is likely to exist. It's a 3 star. So pretty much like here, if I'm looking at the location accuracy, you can go back into Google Street Maps view. If there is not like a Google Street Maps view close enough to the nomination, so if I can't grab my guy and drop him like right beside the nomination, and if like when you zoom in on it, like for example here, this is like a wooded area, and let's say the nomination is like right here, and I'm trying to see it and all that, give this a 3 star, as you can't really confirm that it's actually there since you can't see it through Street Maps, and you also can't see it through satellite. It's gonna be a 3 star. Also, while we're on the topic of location accuracy, something I didn't mention is you can suggest a new location. If based on your research and what you're looking here at the nomination, if you don't think it's actually there and you think it'd be better suited, click suggest new location. You can grab the pin and move it around. For example, here, what is this? A park bench. Let's say the park bench, like once I was looking on Google Street View, is actually over here and they pinned it over here. You can just move that. It'll instantly give it a 5 star because you guarantee that location, but only do this if you know where the location is and you know that it is wrong. If it is not wrong, or if you can't confirm that it's actually there, don't move the pin. Only move it if you can clearly see that the nomination is like over here, but they pinned over here. Another tip, titles that you're gonna give 5 stars. So if you're gonna come up here and I'm gonna give Erickson Memorial Bench a 5 star rating, they should be unique and should be easily understandable by you as a reviewer without too much research. Pretty much, you need to be able to understand it easily. If they do put like just playground and you can't understand it as a person who doesn't have any local knowledge of the area, then that's not going to be a 5 star. It's going to be a 3. But if they do give like playground at McGuffey Park, playground at John John's Park or something like that, then you can go ahead and give that a 5 star, as it is unique enough and it's easily enough to understand. Final tip, and this is probably one of the most important, is check the criteria often. The criteria I mentioned before, in which when you're in your Niantic Wayfarer account, you can click on criteria. Pretty much in here, double check this because these stuff does change pretty much all the eligibility criteria, acceptance and rejection criteria. Niantic does change this, and it never hurts to double check it. Even after 1,000 reviews, 2,000 reviews, all that, come back in here and check it. If you want to know how to use your upgrades once you do end up getting them, pretty much here, I am 99% away from upgrades. So here, let me see if I refresh this. Okay guys, so as you can see, my upgrade bar reset to 0, and now I will start working on getting another upgrade. But if I scroll down here, it says upgrades redeemed 2. Pretty much if you come into your nomination section, if your account is linked with your Pokemon Go, you will see all the nominations you have created. As you can see here, I have Kingsmere Batting Cage, Kingsmere Swing Set, Kingsmere Pool, Play Structure at 7-Day Adventist Church. And then if you click on any of them, you can choose upgrade next. This means when you do get an upgrade, it'll upgrade that one, it'll activate the upgrade on that nomination, and it'll get pushed to the front and fast tracked. I chose the Kingsmere Swing Set to get upgraded next, so currently it is upgraded, it is in queue, and we will find out how long it does take for that one to go through, which honestly, it should be pretty fast. Kingsmere Batting Cage is the other one I did upgrade last week, and the second I put the upgrade next like 3 hours or so, it did end up going through and getting upgraded and getting accepted. As you can see on screen here, this is the POKESTOP in-game. I just want to add in here that if you do not choose upgrade next, then a random nomination of yours will be automatically upgraded. But Niantic has told us that they're going to change this system later this year. But for now, if you do not choose upgrade next, it will use your upgrade and upgrade one of your random nominations. Okay, I'm just going to cut in here. It's Dax from the future, and I want to talk about one more point before we end this video. The point is to have faith in people who are nominating them and put in effort to resolve doubts. You shouldn't be looking for reasons to reject a nomination. You should be looking for reasons to accept a nomination, as we are all in one community and we're just trying to get more POKESTOPs everywhere in the world, right? Take your time, take your effort. If you do see something that looks a little odd, investigate it. If you do end up finding it is a valid reason for you to reject it, then go ahead and reject it. Don't say, oh, I see that, that's bad, I'm gonna reject it. Take your time with the nominations and have faith in reviewers that they actually follow the criteria and nominate an actual valid waypoint. It can be very frustrating if people are nominating valid waypoints that they put time and effort into, and people are just going ahead and rejecting it, giving no time to or thought into it. So just have faith in people nominating. Of course, keep an eye out for for spam and abuse and people who are trying to cheat the system, but take your time, look into each nomination. I know you guys will have questions. I know it's an inevitable fact that people are gonna be completely confused. How do I set this up? How do I set this up? I don't know if I could have covered it all in the video. I did my best, but let me leave you with the one resources that will help you answer any question. Come to the link in the description of this video and look for the Wayfarer Discord. I'm gonna leave it really high in the description so it'll be easy to find. Once you're in the Wayfarer discussion through Discord, you'll get an invite, just click accept. Come to the general chat right here on the left, on the general chat. In here, type your question. All you're gonna wanna do is say, hey, is this a good nomination? What should I rate it? Question, question, question. Or, hey, are playgrounds okay to accept? No matter how dumb or how complicated your question may be, answer it here. There are Wayfarer experts in here that have been doing this forever and really know what is good and what is not and have a great grasp of the system. So don't be scared to come in here and ask questions. If you do have questions on how to set anything up too, like, oh, Wayfarer Plus is not working for me, or I'm struggling to study for the test, I need resources, guys, come in here, ask your specific questions. Super easy, just come in a general chat. So yeah, that's pretty much the video. I hope I was able to cover everything. I hope I can get you guys started on your Wayfarer journey. Now, after reviewing, I've seen what people are nominating and what is getting accepted. And now I know in my area, hey, I have a park, I have a swing set I could nominate, and you get ideas of what you could be nominating. Definitely helps out. But that's pretty much the video, guys. I hope it helped out. We're gonna see you guys in the next video. Follow for more tips, baby. Peace.